collegiate Dota fans, once again I am here with the Rochester Institute of Technology. However, this time they are the grand champions, not dropping a single series. They have just won it all. The first thing I want to ask you guys, before you won it, preparing for your match, what was your main takeaway from your match against McMaster? That was a very close match, a very stressful situation, at least from my end, cheering for you guys in the back. What did you take away from the time you spent with McMaster before that win was out of the way?
I think we took away that if we make mistakes and we aren't coordinated, like we can just lose to any team, because a lot of these teams they have these strategies which they like always have like throughout the season, and we kind of just do whatever we want. So like we knew that we had to just like stop picking whatever we wanted and actually like pick some meta hero, something that like works well together.
Was it now? You've been in the spotlight the entire year, so that was more of a humbling match for you guys, where you really had to kind of get your act together more, bear down. You know, you couldn't just goof around. Would you say?
Yeah.
Now, but you guys are playing near perfect. Were there any mistakes that you guys made in that match with McMaster?
Honestly, in the McMaster.
In the McMaster game,
yeah.
Were there any mistakes in particular? Maybe some misclicked ults or anything?
I don't know. Any misclicked ults here?
Nothing. No doom.
All right, wait. I actually learned quite a bit from that game because I played the Doom Abaddon matchup versus Luki, and I got to see how that goes and how to win it. I think Doom versus Abaddon showed up 2 times today, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It was both games.
Yeah.
That was actually really useful.
And is that where you took away maybe your skill build? I noticed you didn't skill Devour against Abaddon. Or was there more to it? Would you like to reveal any strategies, or is this going to be in the bank for next year?
That wasn't me. That was the other guy.
That was the other guy.
Yeah, I skilled Devour.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Okay, it did seem a little off. Anyways, what didn't seem off was your play today. Now, after you won McMaster, going to the grand finals, how did you spend your time post McMaster preparing for the Aggies?
I mean, we kind of just talked about like what heroes we're gonna first phase ban. We talk about Terrorblade a lot.
How did you decide what your first phase bans were?
We don't like playing against Underlord, and we kind of don't like picking it either. Underlord's just an annoying hero. It's just too easy to play. It's just there.
Yeah, you feel like you were talking about making mistakes. You feel you get punished. Is Underlord one of those heroes that you feel like punishes a little bit too hard? Annoying. Don't want to deal with you. You guys would rather be the annoying ones, not playing against the annoying ones.
We just want some like nice, fun heroes with high skill caps. So.
Oh yeah, and we got to see some headshots on Sniper.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. Now, we may have touched on this in the past, but speaking from the champions, the undefeated, the kings, what advice would you give to a new team starting up in the CSL next year? They're not familiar playing with each other, not familiar with a competitive environment. What advice would you give to them so they can kind of click as a team and get some success, as you guys have seen throughout the whole year?
It depends on like what your skill level is. Like if you're maybe not the best, you can get away with a lot. Like just picking like a 5-man, like these kind of. I mean, they're not like easy heroes, but they really are though. Like Visage, Viper, like Death Prophet, Underlord. These heroes, like you can just 5-man, you can win games even against like good teams because they'll try and do something outplay. And one mistake means like your Rax is gone.
Would you say that comfort, maybe specifically to the CSL, comfort heroes kind of outweigh meta heroes because of the skill differences and the unfamiliarity between teams?
Definitely.
Now, I want to talk to Doggy here. You played fantastic opposition. What advice would you give to an aspiring support player, someone who's someone who has to support his team, but they're not necessarily the carry, but they're carrying the carries? What advice would you give to aspiring support players?
Like the most important thing is to just use your brain. Like you just have to think, if I go here, what am I going to do? What kind of interaction will happen? Like where can I make the most impact? Where am I going to be doing nothing? It's like the biggest thing is like if you go to a wave and you're just sitting there and you're like waiting for something to happen, you're doing nothing. Like you need to be always aware of where you can do the most, where you can like have the most impact. That's really it.
Applying the pressure, making sure that you're not getting pressured into making mistakes. And now, the next thing I want to talk about is you guys are notoriously, well not anymore, but you've had a rough time on LAN. What have you taken away from your past LAN events, and like what have you learned that led to your success here? What advice would you give someone who, first time on LAN, what would you say they should expect to deal with and how to deal with it?
First time on LAN, like I don't really know how to explain it, but like things went wrong. Like maybe it's the pressure, maybe it's the nerves. Like people like aren't thinking clearly, Like they're making like right plays and they're just like hesitating.
Is it much more difficult to focus on the games compared to on land versus when you're at home at your computer?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, a lot more pressure. Now, I have a bit of a rough one for you guys here. Do you know, are you able to decide who your most valuable player is for the LAN setting? For the LAN. Who would you give the most valuable player award to?
My boy Evan. Yeah, sure. Evan.
I guess.
He's just a
I
bad
mean,
Wow, the mid laner getting MVP.
well, it's like whoever drafts, like it's the captain.
It's like, it's
Because
more
like,
than that though. Like he's
My
not just
draft-
like the mid laner, he's like actually thinking about the game.
yeah, I tell him
He
what to
has
do.
like the ideas. Like, I'm just the front man here, you know?
Yeah.
I have my own ideas, but like I listen to what he says most of the
Do you have to check in with Evan to make sure what you're doing is okay
Yeah,
during the
I
match?
mean, like, kind of,
He's the quality control for the team?
yeah, it's just,
Like sometimes, like he's gonna go for some crazy play, like do
Yeah.
I run at this Michael King? Or do I go and I'm like, no, just hit the tower.
yeah.
Do you find that it sometimes, although you're the mid, you're playing a core, do you find that sometimes you end up babysitting? You know, not maybe babysitting in lane the way a support would, but babysitting with the calls.
Yeah, kind of.
Do you find that happens more or less now than it did earlier on in the season?
More. Yeah. Because like earlier this season, Eradicate was drafting.
Yeah.
And like we didn't really like. I wasn't like we were making calls. Like we weren't playing as much as a team. We just like split push and like do whatever you want, play your own game. And I think like that can get you. It can get you pretty far, but sometimes it won't get you all the way.
And have you noticed that you're changing out of drafting Eradicate has made it easier for you to play throughout the season?
It's the same thing.
Same thing? Same thing. Just a little bit of a role, changing the swap.
It's just a person clicking, and we still discuss it.
And is it much more, as much as Evident is giving a lot of calls, is it a very team effort, or does everything have to go through Evident, the big boss, before it's
We all
decided?
talk together.
Yeah.
It's a lot of coordination that goes into playing Dota. Whatever we do, we all need to like kind of be in tune with what's happening to play well and like win the game.
I don't know what happens in the side lanes in the early game. It's up to them.
You can't
You can figure it out.
You can only look in so many places at once. Like we have to make calls on everybody.
Of course. And I imagine the support players are often talking because as much as Evident is playing by himself, you guys seem to do a fantastic job coordinating early on. I know against McMaster, your Tusk sneaking to get the first blood against the Bane, baiting him into the path and ice sharding him in. Are you guys usually the loudest in the early games?
My boy Warren's shouting at the top of his lungs here. I mean, like, it really depends. Like, if we're tri-laning, though, like, we're really communicative and we're, like, deciding, like, how we can get a kill, what we can do. Like, when the Bane, like, walked up through that choke point, like, he did it once, I'm just gonna, I sit in the trees, he did it again, I just killed him. Like, it's just a pattern.
All right, fantastic. Well, you killed the Bane, you killed the whole tournament, champions, without dropping a single series. This is the Rochester Institute of Technology, the 2018 Collegiate Star League Grand Champions.